Everton, they beat Manchester United yesterday in a penalty shootout, so they're enjoying their day in the sun. Dermot Nealon is vice chairman of the Irish Toffees, the Everton supporters club in Dublin. How's it feel, Dermot?
It feels great, Declan. Thanks a million. Absolutely brilliant. We were all delighted yesterday, and the fact that we haven't won anything yet, we'll be really up for Chelsea now at the end of May, so they better watch out, and I hope they underestimate us like Man United did yesterday.
Indeed. I mean, probably looking at Chelsea, they're a great team, but they leak goals at the back, so you might have a bit of a chance in there. You're on the edge of your seat all the way through then?
We were, and we haven't had a great record in penalties, so we were dreading going to penalties, I have to say.
And it must have been compounded with the first one.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd put your house on Tim Cahill, but that often happens when the big-name man gets up to take a penalty. He bottles it, and I was actually surprised at the other lads, the likes of Phil Neville and Phil Jagielka, who had the bottle to get up and take them, and fair play to them for doing that, because they're not naturally goal scorers. I think they've probably scored 2 goals in the last 2 years between the two of them. So it was brilliant to see them having the bottle to get up, and particularly after Jagielka missed the important penalty against Fiorentina in last season's shootout for us to be eliminated from the UEFA Cup. So it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, Everton itself sometimes maybe overshadowed in the city of Liverpool, but they are the original Liverpool team, and from a Catholic Irish base, is that right?
That is absolutely very true, and the amount of guys that follow Liverpool that you try to preach that to, and they to it and they don't and all, but we don't care. I mean, the history is there, it speaks for itself. Everton have been playing Irish lads since the turn of the last century, and Liverpool's first Irish guy was actually Ronnie Whelan, Steve Highway before that, but he actually declared for Ireland after he played for Liverpool. So there seemed to be a kind of I won't say an anti-Irish bias there, but for some reason they wouldn't play lads. But Everton have always been doing it, and there is quite a strong supporter base here, I have to say, and a lot of guys who follow Everton now because their dads and their granddads did. So and we're growing all the time, I have to say. We've close on 350 members, and it's going to be bedlam trying to get tickets for the final. We're going to have a lot of phone calls today and tomorrow, I can tell you.
Was there many over at it from Ireland?
Yes, from the Irish Toffees, I'm sure there were other people who went over on their own steam, but from the Irish Toffees we had about 115 at the game yesterday.
Right, I don't take away from your win yesterday, but United weren't sort of well represented with their first team, and they're a bit lacklustre in places. Make any difference?
Yeah. Well, that's their choice. I mean, if their manager wants to devalue his club's involvement in the FA Cup, it's not the first time they've done that. He did it before. He didn't even enter the competition. That's not our problem. We only compete what's put in front of us. And you've got to remember, the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand were on the pitch, and so was Tevez, and Berbatov even came on. So there was enough big names there. And you've got to consider as well, United have about 4 times the annual budget that Everton have to play with. So they can afford to have, their reserves who are of a top-notch calibre compared to our reserves. But we put out our best 11, and I think we deserved to win on the day. It was a tight game, but the day before, Arsenal and Chelsea wasn't a classic either. So we've beaten now 2 of the teams 3 teams that were Villa were in the top 4 when we knocked them out, and Liverpool were second in the league. United were first. So we've certainly done it the hard way, and we only have, if you like, a small squad to take our pool of players from. So we can only beat what's put in front of us. And if Ferguson wants to, belittle the competition and let his fans down by fielding a weakened team, that's his choice. But if you're in for 5 trophies, that's the price you have to pay. United actually deprived us of doing a unique treble back in 1985 when we'd won the League Championship and the European Cup Winners' Cup, and we played United in the FA Cup final 3 days after the Cup Winners' Cup final, and they beat us 1-0 with a late Norman Whiteside goal. So it's just the way it goes in football. You can only beat what's put in front of you.
When was the last time Everton won anything?
They won the FA Cup in 1995, and they beat Manchester United 1-0 in the final. So there you go.
So you're 14 years waiting anyway to even be in the position where you are now. Well, let's hear from Tony Dunn from the Manchester United Supporters Club. You'll be very magnanimous, I'm sure, Tony.
Congratulations, Dermot. It's deserved it because, like you say, you showed respect on the tie. And as Dermot says, like 1995 was a bitter blow and Everton beat us. We were only beginning to get into our stride. But I have to say I'm disgusted with Ferguson on this. I don't understand it. Why, it's the fans. It's going to have a stage now. You're going to sit at home and watch it on the TV. You won't bother travelling anymore because there's a lot of expense getting to London now. And even for the FA to put 2 northern clubs, it's compulsory now with them since the new Wembley went in, that you have to travel to the semi-finals to Wembley. And it's just ridiculous. And for Fergie to drop 11, because that's what he done. I know he's another picture, he's looking at it, but that FA kept us going for years in the 70s and 80s when we couldn't win a thing. And I was very, very disappointed with his attitude.
Yeah, and do you think Everton deserved it on the day?
Oh, well, they did, yeah. I know there was a penalty decision that they're all shouting at, but I thought United were so poor of what we're used to. And Everton, you do give them good respect because it's a tough game even to go to St Park every season. It's a tough one to get results out of. And Moyes is doing a great job with them, and I know he's pally with Fergie, but I think after yesterday they were best friends. But I'm disgusted with Ferguson's attitude. Yeah. It's a whip-off of the fans, and I think it's come to a stage, lads will say, to hell with a lot of us, what team are you going to see when you go over?
Yeah, you might have to bottle that, Dermot, from a Manchester United fan.
No, well, obviously I'm delighted for us yesterday, but I would wish United every success now. We hope for obvious reasons that they win the league. We certainly don't want our neighbour to win that. And good luck in the European Cup as well. We are the Champions League, whatever you want to call it. But no, fair play, and thanks a million, Tony, for the best wishes there.
You're more than welcome. You deserve. You have the right attitude. That's great. It's not right at these old cups. I know they're losing their style every year, because the only way to get the FA Cup back up would be to give the winners a Champions League spot, or maybe that would be the best way to do it, rather than teams that come 3rd and 4th in the league are entitled to playoffs. Maybe give it something, because it was brilliant to win that cup. But I think after watching it, I know in the year 2000 we had this thing with the World Club thing, and you weren't entering it. We took enough flack over that, but the fans have to listen to all this, and I don't like the way it's going. Like, if you see the rugby, Ireland rugby can go out, run themselves into the ground, and we can't play 2 games in 3 or 4 nights. And the money the players are on, I think might as well wrap them all in cotton wool.
Yeah, what happened to United with the penalties? I mean, they lose their bottle yesterday, Tony.
Well, I have to say, Declan, that he spent a fortune on this Gorbachev, and after yesterday, the sort of crowd had been taken to him, and I think after yesterday he's going to find it very hard to be liked again in there, because his attitude, he looks lazy, and you see, compare what Rooney does for you and runs his heart out, but I don't know. Then he has centre halves Rio going up taking penalties. United had won the last couple of shootouts, but no, I'm very annoyed with Ferguson. I don't know what I think he's getting the end of his tether. I think it's sooner better we get fresh blood into run the club.
Sack the manager, I think.
It's annoying me anyway with him. I don't know what he's. Yeah. I know if you come along, you win the Champions League and maybe but the league, it would be. I'd have to say to stop Liverpool from getting that, because they are going great guns. I'd be happy with that. Like, Champions League, you're going to be a tough one, hell of a final, whoever gets into it.
Yeah, well, you both agree on the league then. Just one final thing for you, Tony, and that is the final itself. Chelsea, they'll be formidable opposition anyway to Everton.
Yeah, obviously I'd say they're favourites, but it depends. If Chelsea get to the Champions League final, this game is going to be, I think, the weekend after the Champions League or the weekend before. I'm not quite sure. But Everton will put it to them, and they'll have their best side. They're safe in the league. They've done great in that, and they will give a great game on the day. And good luck to them, because it's about time they got a trophy. You like to see, because there's a lot of Everton fans in Wicklow, and they're sort of going through barren times, like you say, 14 years since their last trophy. You'd like to see someone else getting a share of it.
Well, as you say, Dermot Nealon from the Irish Toffees, there'll be a scramble for tickets anyway, and you're optimistic at this stage.
Well, absolutely. We owe Chelsea one. I mean, we haven't beaten them, I think, for God knows how many years now at this stage. So we have beaten United, Liverpool and Arsenal in recent years. We haven't beaten Chelsea for an age. So we owe them one. And like I said earlier, I hope they underestimate us going into the final. It'd be great.
Okay, well, maybe we'll talk again close to the time anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, good luck, lad. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Dermot Nealon there, Vice Chairman of the Irish Toffees, the Everton Supporters Club in Dublin, and Tony Dunn from the Wicklow Manchester United Supporters Club. And big news yesterday was that Everton beat Manchester United. Maybe I'm premature with Chelsea. Beat Manchester United in a penalty shootout to get their place alongside Chelsea on May the 30th in Wembley. East Coast.
Cool for school, €5 meat.